We're going live now. Hang on. So, hi, good evening. Not too sure if this is live, so I'll say it again. Hi, good evening. Welcome to this evening's IBD Ostomy Support Show. I'm Louise, aka Crohn's Fighting.
Need some hands.
So, just do some hands. Just hands. Hi, people. Give us a wave. Pop up on the chat. Okay, so just a little bit of quick housekeeping. The format of the show's changing, so we'll still be doing the live every Thursday. But we are now uploading separate videos. So for me, I do ileostomy bag changes or bag reviews like what I've posted up on the show channel today. So check that under the Pelican Vitamin E bag. Rachel will be posting things such as urostomy changes and her reviews and other bits and pieces. So it will be all of us. So you will have more access to that and as it pops up, because you may not be on our individual channels. For those of you that haven't watched before, if you are watching and would like to continue watching and get notifications, please press the little subscribe button down on the bottom. It's a little red one. So press subscribe. I would be ever so grateful. So what have I been up to this week? Okay, so I've had a blog post go out about a stoma bag. So give that a look. Let me know your feelings. It's for the Pelican Vitamin E bag. So for those of you that have tried the bag and wish to review it or send me your diary entries, then send them to me at Crohn's Fighting, or you can tag me at #vitamin_E diaries. And I would love the feedback with regards to those bags. It would be fantastic. What else have I been up to? So I've been to the gym. I've had arm day this week. I've had leg day. I'm now on rest day today and I cannot move. It actually took me about 5 minutes to get off the toilet today because that is how bad I hurt my legs yesterday. The compressor on my fridge went bang. So we paid £65 for somebody to come out and tell me that the fridge was broken. So we did an emergency dash to Curry's after the school run and I now have a fridge freezer being delivered tomorrow. I won't mention how much it cost, but I can confirm that we was crying at the till. So yeah, that's about it. Oh, so those of you that can get ostomy knickers on the NHS, I can't get them. I've tried. I've fought my GP left, right and centre. Vanilla Blush very kindly let me order them and pay for them and have them delivered, and they have been great. Going to the gym, the bag's not getting sweaty because it's tucked into the cotton pouch. And I will admit I've not actually done a bag change since Monday because I have been showering with a slip freezer bag over the top of my stoma bag so it doesn't get wet. Oh yeah, and I kamikazed out the shower last week and I've still got the bruises on my butt for that one. We have Alannah joining us this evening, so everybody say hey. Steve will be on in a moment. Steffi's not on this evening, she's working, so everybody say hi, Steffi, and we hope work doesn't suck too much. And that's about it. Oh yeah, today we are doing the struggles with invisible illness as a whole, so nobody's excluded from this. I will pass you over to Rachel and we shall go from there.
Thank you, Louise. Hi, I'm Rachel, aka Rocking Two Stomas. I need to be more creative like Steve and have a sign or something. My week. So we weren't here last week because we were in Copenhagen and it was really quick turnaround. We were Thursday, we flew out to Copenhagen and then we did we had the rehearsal Thursday, then we went out for food and the rehearsal didn't go well. So I was the most nervous I've ever been in all my public speaking adventures. I was the most nervous. And then early on we had the agenda meeting where we shared our story in front of it was about 500 people, but it went live to other Coloplast colleagues, and it was amazing, and it was such a brilliant experience. And then we went back to, we flew back on the Friday, so it was a really quick turnaround, and it's been really tired. I'm back in Bournemouth, and the last 2 months have been mental, so busy, and it's just nice to kind of be back in my home and get my routine and my just kind of find me again. I feel like I've been a bit lost and catch up on my writing, and so I'm not going to be seeing Steve. Well, I'm not going to be traveling to Birmingham for about a month and a little bit. So Steve can come to me, but I just need to kind of just spend time with myself. I forget.
Is she frozen?
I think Rachel's frozen. I do apologise. Whilst she still thinks she's talking and not realise she's frozen and she's dropped out. Okay, I'll pass you over to Alannah for the minute and Steve will drop back in, and so will Rachel.
Hello, I'm Alannah, and I'm also known as Glittery Guts on Instagram. And literally, all I've been doing this week is sleeping. Doctor's appointments. That's about it, honestly. Like housework, because I have OCD. So yeah, my week has been really boring. Oh, is she back? She's back.
Rachel's back. Yay!
Sorry, that
Oh,
I don't know what happened. It like went off, but basically, in a nutshell, I'm glad to be back. I'm resting. I'm spending more time with myself and actually getting things done that I need to get sorted. So I've got in June because I had this esophageal spasm that they think is my condition progressing, because it is what made my organs fail, the pure autonomic failure. So I've got that testing in June, and then just taking it easy, trying to take it easy. I went to a Secure Care event today, which was brilliant, and met somebody called a stoma coach. She's called Lucy. She's brilliant. She's really nice. So quite excited to see what we can do down our end. But yeah, that's it. I think I'll pass you over.
well, as I said, like my week's been pretty like chill. Just like, well, actually, I have been gaming quite a lot, but I think like when you're on bed rest, it's find things to do, isn't it? Like when you're not physically able, to go about, like except doing housework. Like I haven't been able to get out in that, but apart from that, it's just been housework and sleeping and gaming. That's literally it.
Did you say gaming?
Mm.
Cool. What games? I like Assassin's Creed.
Good on Xbox like all the time, but like I play what is it, League of Legends? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It can be quite cool.
Is it really bad only playing Farm Hero Saga on my phone? I don't really.
Well, I mean, you meet some like really good people. Like we've made some really good friends, like from League of Legends. Like we have friends in Spain. Is it Portugal? Portugal, and the Netherlands as well. And the other two, they're a couple, so they game as well. So like we're always on like video chat, and it's great.
Oh, that sounds really cool. Like my geeky thing is chess. I love playing chess. I play chess online.
I used to love that when I was little, but I haven't played it in years actually. I used to play, when you used to get computers, the old like school ones, and you used to be able to play chess on. I used to do that.
You can do it on your phone, and you can play people live. Like I used to play for Wales when I was younger, and it just calms me out. Like Steve told me I need to get back playing it because my head goes a bit, so it like helps calm me a bit and makes me more logical, because I'm not a very logical person. So chess helps me.
I'm not either.
Just to throw this one out there, what do you think is the worst part of having an invisible illness?
I would say when people say you look well, but you feel dreadful and like you haven't slept. Oh, well, you look fine. So they say, oh, well, you must be fine. And you think, well, how can, you can't just judge somebody's illness by how they look.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like anybody can look fine, and it's like a broken bone. Like, you might have fractured it or whatever, but you can't actually see it. So how, irritates me.
It's a difficult one. It's when people say, oh, you look well, or are you sure you're ill?
You're too young to be ill.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's my worst one.
I have that all the time, and I'm like, okay, then. So illness just has a certain age, then.
I got that today.
Did you actually?
Yeah. The way I've discussed this before in the show, but the words that I really struggle with is like, you're so brave and strong. But I'm trying to be like kind of understanding as to why people say that. But I really do struggle with it, because I'm just being me. I'm literally just surviving and trying to get on with it. If I actually listen to my body, I probably should be resting more than I do. But I have been through times where, like, I'm obviously doing something right because I'm stayed out of hospital I think 4 months in a row. So I'm doing something right. But that's the hardest for me, is saying that you're strong. I don't know why it does something to me. I'm trying to be understanding. Like some people generally think that, but I just think I'm not being anything. I'm just trying to make.
You're just doing you.
yeah, and trying to make a good situation. And I've had to do a lot of self-development to help change that mindset of actually that life isn't all bad and there are positives and like gratitude lists and stuff like that. But I've had to really work at it. It didn't come naturally, you know, especially
I don't think it does.
No, like you struggled with the fistulas, haven't you? When you keep having like your fistulas, me with the sepsis and the prolapse surgeries, it's like, oh, it's back again. And it's like that whole...
It does. It just goes round and round, doesn't it? Because like you'll get a fistula, but then as you know, with one fistula, there can be God knows how many attached to it, because that's just what happens. They grow and they progress like, you know, a tree with branches, like, you know, I mean, it happens. And, you know, with each scan you get, there's always more, or there's always more growth. And it's just...
I think the worst part of anything, especially with it being invisible, is if you see somebody in a wheelchair, then you automatically assume that they're not well, they're ill, they're, you know, or somebody with a prosthetic. Then because you can see it, it computes with the brain. But I think the thing is because majority of ours is on the inside, even if we do look a little bit wan or a little bit pale or a little bit tired, makeup for the females hides a multitude of sins, and 9 times out of 10, the only time that people notice we are really ill is because of the amount of weight that we drop or the amount of weight that we gain. There's no in between, because the thing is even when we're in hospital and we've got IVs in us and we've got drips, you've still got people in the bed next to you thinking that because you don't look ill, even though you are in hospital, that you're more able-bodied than them and therefore you can help them. It's dire because we're so young as well. You know, for most of us, it's all happened in our early 20s or early teens. So it's just presumed that 9 times out of 10 that we're being lazy. Because I mean, how do you think it affects like families and friends and relationships, or saying, oh, I can't make a night out, I'm really, really tired. Oh, but you've done nothing this week. Or your family saying, well, why have you fallen asleep again on the sofa? Because I'm bloody exhausted. I feel like a permanently exhausted pigeon.
That is literally how it is. Like, I mean, from a very young age, like I've been ill since I was 13. I didn't get diagnosed till I was 17. And, you know, like I was quite well at school, you know, like I had a lot of friends. And as more time went on, the more ill I was getting and the more treatment and hospital admissions, people were disappearing. You know, it was like, well, you know, you're no fun anymore, so, you know, on you go. Like, you know, that's how it was for me.
I mean, how does everybody cope with the pain? Because that's another one as well. Because the pain's on the inside, you can't see it. Others can't see it, so therefore,
I think how we all know this, that I'm very much in denial type of person. So my parents actually, although they live in Wales, they do the opposite. So it's like, you're doing too much, you need to slow down. And everybody's like, you're doing too much. Because I've been in the victim mentality and I've been in the not being able to do anything, and I was in a really bad way and I was in a dark hole that I couldn't get out of. I probably pushed myself too far. So I don't allow myself to rest because I'm worried I'm going to end up in that place that I was in. And that's something that I'm trying desperately to work around by like time blocking time to actually do nothing, not to advocate, not to online. And it's because it's impacting my relationships. And, you know, Steve, we're arguing a little bit because I'm on my phone all the time and I don't know how to take a rest. So I'm probably a little bit of the opposite. But with the pain, I'm in horrific pain with my prolapse, but I don't has my face disappeared?
No, I don't think so.
Something's come up on my screen. I'm in pain all the time, but I kind of work around it. So I take tramadol and I've got used to, I've had the prolapse for 5 years. So I'm used to the pain, but I probably have to like take a leaf. I act like I'm well too much, and that's my denial. And that's something that I try hard to work on, because it's hard, like sometimes accepting yourself that you're poorly. It's hard accepting that, you know, my kidney function's not great. It's hard accepting that everything else, like especially if it's progressing the esophagus and I've lost weight and everything else, that the blockages and the 2 bags, it's hard to accept. So I will throw myself into work to distract myself, not to concentrate on that. And that's something that I have to work on daily, because I I don't want to be in that dark place I was in, but I have to listen to my body. Otherwise I end up in hospital again. So I always struggle with that balance.
I think everybody does, yeah.
I normally get dragged into hospital kicking and screaming. I don't know when, like you, Rachel, I don't know when to stop. I'll keep going and going and going and going and going until I literally hit the point of really, really bad, and then I have to get it dealt with. It's not a, I know it's not a good way of dealing with it, but it's difficult to explain, isn't it? It's difficult to explain to anyone.
I suppose it's like, I mean, I know exactly what you mean, but it's hard to explain. But it's like, if you distract yourself, then you think, right, well, I'm not going to think about it. And if you throw yourself into something, you're not sitting there and you're not thinking about everything that's wrong with you. You're just like, oh, you know, like this is happening, I'm going to do this, you know?
Yeah, and it doesn't marry with, because I sort of do a program as well. Like it's sort of like, it doesn't really marry up. So it's like I do a lot of self-help books, and like the 5-second rule, that if you've got an idea, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you do it. But that doesn't marry up with kind of my illness. That doesn't marry up with honouring my fatigue, because I don't honour it. Steve was like, you need to stop. And I'll be on my floor. I'll wake up and I'm more exhausted than when I went to sleep, but I'll still keep going. And then what happens to me is I end up with sepsis, and I don't learn and I don't listen. And I am really trying to balance it, because it's not fair to my family and friends, because for me, hospital's a rest, and that's not normal to think of it like that.
No, because I think of it as a holiday.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, a holiday.
But it's not normal though, is it really? Like that that you're so busy that hospital is a rest or a holiday. It's like, that's not the right way, the right mindset to have. So I am trying. It's going to take time, and you know, I've only had a week's admission once this year. I've had two admissions, but they were just A&E and out. And that's amazing. Like I was six times last year. I was 7 months the year before, and 6 months the year before that. So it's getting less. But it's a good question.
Not think deal with it and the way that we are, that sometimes, okay, I know classing it as a holiday is a pretty sick way of looking at it. However, do you not think that sometimes that it is a holiday for us to actually take time out and realise that maybe we shouldn't always push ourselves to the point of no return, and therefore ending up in hospital, as much as we hate it, is a break from everything and anything, because we can't get up to what we normally would when we're out and about. Hi, Steve!
There's the superstar!
Hello there.
Hi!
Lovely.
How are we doing? Hello, Lana, you all right?
Yeah, how are you? Long time no see.
Good, man. How is everyone today?
We're all good. We are talking about the struggles of invisible illness this evening, if you missed the memo. I'm all right. Ben killed me with leg day yesterday, so trying to get off the toilet at the moment takes a rather long time.
Leg day's the worst. That's why I refuse to have pictures below the waist. They've all got to be above.
I had to take Maisie to school this morning. I was pretty much crawling up Mount Everest hill to her school because I couldn't walk it. Because every time I put my foot down, I could feel my thighs throbbing. Leg day is not good.
Right?
Huh?
You all right, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I
was just talking about, we're just saying about how, talking about invisible illness and saying how I'm kind of the other way, where I will stop, run, don't stop, end up doing loads of stuff and then end up in hospital, which isn't the right way. And you're helping me see that is not the right way.
It's called the sand burying syndrome, isn't it? The head burying sand syndrome.
Yeah.
Ben said that I did that yesterday. He was saying to me last night, that is what I do.
Yeah, it's a way to do it, but it catches up in the end.
It does.
You've got to be mindful to your own body, you know what I mean?
Do you know what Steve said to me? He said, before I got to know you, I thought you had it all together. You know, you come across that you've got it all together, and then when you actually close to you, it's like you really don't.
Wow.
But
only I see that, don't I?
Yeah.
I'll admit I had an hour and a half nap today.
Cool.
But did you feel better from it though?
No, I wanted to stay asleep.
Oh.
I didn't want to get up, but I got up.
You know what? you know, with the sleeping, the fatigue, which everyone suffers with fatigue who's got IBD or something related to the bowel. I actually read about it. I read about the optimal times. When we was away, we was talking to a couple of the people there that, you know, like with siestas in Spain and stuff. They say that 30 minutes is the optimal time, or an hour, and then any more, you feel that you're waking up sluggish. So I set my alarm for like 55 minutes, and I wake up and I feel amazing. But you have to get up there and then. It's no good pressing snooze.
No, see, I can't do that.
You get up and I tell you, you feel really good.
Well,
I've done it with
really?
half an hour is no good, because you're just about. I'm dreaming about waking up.
Well, Elaine's emailed in. She said that she struggles because people in general don't understand. So that's people like work colleagues, your boss. And she also says she doesn't always realise how much pain she's in because she has to deal with it on a daily basis. It's only when the stupid doctors want to prod her, she gets morphine in hospital, and then she realises just how much pain she is actually in. Mm. And so
that's again that's the kind of denial keeping you going. Like they call it the river Nile, don't they? Like the denial is sort of denial, I think. But it's like don't laugh at me, Steve. but it's a way of carrying through, and I think sometimes we need denial, but if it starts impacting your life, then that's when starts impacting your health, then that's when it's dangerous.
I'm a big believer of listen to your body. If you need a sleep, and if you can fight through it and you can get through it without, you know, and you feel okay, then brilliant. But if you can't and your body's just telling you, have a sleep. Do you know what I mean? Listen to what it's saying.
Definitely.
You normally feel a bit better afterwards, even if you're a little bit sluggish, but that's the nature of the game, isn't it?
See, I get to the point of where I push myself to where I cannot keep my eyes open, and then I just literally, I crash and I'll sleep solid for 8, 9, sometimes 12 hours if I haven't eaten or drunk before I crash out and my stomach decides not to do a diddly in the night.
If I sleep in a day, I don't sleep well at night, so I try really hard. I may go to bed really early, but I try hard not to sleep in a day unless I am absolutely shattered, because I just don't sleep well at the night, and I will keep my eyes open, and then I might get a bit grouchy. But when I had the catheter and before the bladder was removed and all that, I slept all the time, and I think sometimes I do sleep, but I try to go to bed earlier so I get a better night's sleep. That's just a routine that works for me. I tried the 30 minutes. I tried the 30-minute sleeping that Steve did, and it's like takes me 30 minutes to go off.
See, I really struggle to sleep. It's really weird because I have insomnia, but once I sleep, that's it. Like I'm gone for hours. So it's really annoying. So the doctor's like, try and get into a routine. So I really need to try and get into a routine.
I've realised that my insomnia has gone.
That's down to me.
I don't know when it went. Yeah, it's tired me out. I'm knackered by the end of the day. Sleep. No, I tell you, it's gone. I used to be waking. I wake up in the night for a wee and I empty my bag and stuff, but I'm literally straight back to sleep. There's no lying there checking Facebook anymore. I'm just gone, which is nice. And I don't know when that happened, to be honest.
I'm very jealous.
It's not to be sniffed at. I'm talking about going to sleep. Oh dear.
Anyway, so there's a few people that have said about the question that Louise said. Pauletta said, yes, don't understand. Fatigue we get with illness. Graham said the tiredness some friends don't understand for me. Paulette agreed. Graham says you can't judge a book by its cover. It's a constant fight living with Crohn's. No one really understands. And I think it's all of those comments we've all been there. I think I've lost loads of friends at the beginning of my journey. I lost loads of friends because they didn't know what was wrong. It took me 5 years to get a diagnosis, and it was people thought I was making it up, and that was really hard. That was a really lonely, tough time. I think there's no support really for people before the diagnosis stage on whatever illness. That was one of the toughest times, and I had all the interventions of catheters, and I had an overactive thyroid and all these interventions, and yet they didn't know why my bladder and bowel would not work. And that was really that just, I was obsessed with it, because, and friends didn't understand it, because you don't have a reason as to this is why it happened. It wasn't until I got diagnosis that people were like, oh, we believe you now, you know, and that's quite hard to go through.
You're always going to get that from the outsiders looking in, aren't you? They're never going to really understand fatigue unless they're, it's not like normal tiredness, is it? You can't really, you know, once it kicks in, even after sleep, you're still feeling grouchy all day.
You see, the thing is me being as ill as what I have been in the past, when I went back to work originally after everything that happened with Maisie, I used to do return to works for other people. So people that had had a few days off, and document your time to work once your sickness level had hit the red flag marker. And some of the things that I used to hear as to why they'd taken off a day or two, and I was like, you are having a freaking laugh with me, right? You know, things like I've had a cold, or I don't know, or the other one that used to really wind me up was they'd actually taken a couple of days off because they'd had a stonking hangover.
Yeah, but Louise, what you got to remember is, right, now this is me sticking up for these other people.
This is what I think I was going to say a similar thing.
You got to remember is that they're not used to suffering day in, day out, so therefore this is their bad.
Yeah, but I'm like, if I can make it to work with an open wound that I still have a vac machine attached to, with an ileostomy.
I get it, but you know,
I'm like Louise on this one.
And I can still go to work and still work and put in a full 8-hour day, yet they don't turn up because they've been out for the night before. And I've got a stonking hangover.
I've done it when I was well. I've done it. I've had time off through, you know, overdoing it at the weekend and stuff. Yeah, but you know, but I can see it from. The thing is, we can only judge it from our point of view, can't we? Which is chronic illness point of view.
Exactly, and like they're not used to it, are they? Like, I suppose because like I got this as well.
I think the struggle that we have as being chronically ill is even when we are ill, we don't take those days off sick because we get judged.
But what's the main reason we don't take them off? I think the main reason we don't take them off is because them days where we feel sick, they can only get worse, and we save them days for when it's really bad. Do you know what I mean? So I remember going to work absolutely in agony, but thinking, well, I'm still able to walk. I'm still able to get to work. I'll save the really bad days for when I'm really bad, you know, which someone else is really bad. It might be a sniffly cold or a sore throat.
A few years ago, like I was mentally, I was not in a good place, right? And I judged everybody. Whoever said on Facebook they had a cold, I was like, how can they moan? But it wasn't good for my soul. It really took me to a really dark place. So I had to learn. This is like 3 years ago. Actually, what's bad for somebody else, I can't really compare, because they might not be used to kind of my bad. And I had to do that just to free my mind, because I was obsessing about it and I was making me so angry. I had to kind of step back and go, okay, right, so they haven't got the same as you. They don't know what it's like you can't pee and you can't poo. Like they've got a cold, but that might be bad for them. And since I've done that, it's easier. I don't get annoyed when people say they've got a cold. It's got easy for me. I've kind of stepped back because it was so painful. I felt like I wanted to be on my white horse, going pointing at everybody. Like, don't you know who I am and what I've been through? But actually, I had to, for myself, take a step back, because it wasn't helping me mentally, and it made me compare and judge, and that's kind of not what I wanted to do. So I sort of had to be like, okay, yeah. So I totally get what you're saying, Louise. I do, like, going to work with I can't imagine what that's like with it. I had an open wound with a cellulitis, but I didn't have a vac and I didn't work. So, you know, but I think sometimes with especially with colds, like I just try to not really focus if people are moaning all the time. I just think it's more of the judgment thing. I think when you've been as ill as what us lot have been, I think if you are fighting, 1, to get employed, 2, to be employed, or 3, to even keep your job, because you're getting threatened with probation and things like having 2 or 3 weeks off because you've had surgery, or 4 months off sick because you've had surgery, and it's something that you can't physically help. And I feel that in the long run, I think being chronically ill,
as a whole, I think the minute that you declare your illness to the employer, I think you're already at a
disadvantage.
That's the term. Yeah, you're at a
you
disadvantage.
are, and you're constantly worried about trigger points as well. Now, I totally get what you're saying. I was just trying to put the other side tilt on it. You know, we get used to suffering, and we turn into work. We don't have time off for a cold.
Do you know what? I get people.
Ridiculous.
I get people with the flu. I get people that have got stomach bugs that are puking their guts up and everything else. That's fair enough. But when somebody says that just had a day off because they felt a bit cold, it's just sort of like, oh. But I get it. It's the same as that cold that was going around that wiped most of us out earlier on.
Oh my God.
I had that. Oh my God. Yeah.
I felt horrific. I said to Steve, like I had to have 2 lots of antibiotics because it went to my chest. And I went, whoa, I forgot how bad a cold was. I'm sure it was the flu. I was terrible.
That knocked everyone about. I had a night where I was on fire.
You had a night. Mine lasted a week. Yours like Steve lasted a night.
What temperature? I went really, really hot, and
it was like 39.
And Rachel was throwing ice cold flannels on me.
We wouldn't go to A&E because it's Steve, and Steve's hard, and he doesn't need A&E. So
he wouldn't listen to me. I think even I messaged you and said I think get it synced though.
Eat a bag of nuts and get over it.
Right, Graham's just asked a question. He said, "What's the panel's thoughts on the invisible illness and the use of disabled toilets? Have any of you had?"
That is a really good question. Yeah.
Has anyone had bad experiences?
Yes.
I have, yeah.
Alannah, what's yours?
I was in a hospital, so they had like the men's, the females, and then the disabled. And I was just for like a routine appointment. I think I was maybe like getting infliximab or something at the time. And I went into the disabled toilet, and I came out, and like this old lady just looked at me. It's just like, and I was like, well, what's the problem? I was like, if I need to poop, I was like, I will go and I will poop. Thank you. Honestly, like I was flaring really
I like
bad
that your camera movement. Your camera movement. Your camera movement. With an attitude, man. That was great.
Honestly, I was so annoyed, and I just thought, like, how dare you? But they don't see it, so they don't know that you're going to be bursting for the toilet. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you almost feel embarrassed, but you're annoyed at the same time.
I've done that. I've literally had a woman stare at me in disgust as she walked in with 2 crutches, and I just showed her my bag and looked at my bag and then looked at her distastefully.
I've done that. I've done that as well. I flicked.
Really?
I was an old guy, and I went, and he just went. He started sort of saying, this was a while ago, like a couple of years ago, and he just started saying before the blog, he started saying like, you shouldn't be using disabled people like you. You're young. You shouldn't be used disabled. And I just went like that, and I went, no bowel, no bladder. Even though I have got a bowel, but it's easier to explain. And then I just walked off, and he was like shocked, and I thought, well, maybe you've learned something. Maybe you learned something.
Do you know what?
I didn't do the end up.
No, Rachel, you know how hot-headed I get when I know I'm in the right. This was no word of a lie. It was about 4 weeks after surgery. I'd only been out of hospital a month, and I'd been having major leaking issues with my bag. However, I'd booked tickets and to go out with my mum to take the kids to go and see Father Christmas over at the local garden centre. And I said to my mum, I don't know, I keep leaking. I'm not gonna. I got through the Santa bit, and then my mum said, "Oh, I'll tell you what we do. We'll pop up to town afterwards." Well, as we was going up the hill, I could just feel the whole bag had just literally pretty much slid off, and it was all coming. It was coming up through my shirt, and obviously I had a VB support vest on. I had a belt on underneath that, and then I had knickers under the belt over the bag, and my jeans. The whole lot got caught. And I've always had a radar key because I had the BAM and the constant diarrhea. I had to have one because things like late night at the train station, when that hits you, you've got to go to the toilet. There's no way around it. You've got to go. So I've got the radar key, and I said to my mum, "Might drop me off. I'll go to the toilet, so I'll change my bag, and then you've got to go and grab me some clothes from Tesco's, and I'll get changed in the car, and we'll go back on our day." I was in the disabled toilets, and when it's that bad, you have to strip off in your entirety. Bear in mind, this is the middle of December. It is freezing cold. Disabled toilets aren't warm. I'm trying to wash my clothes off in the sink and get them dry under the dryer just so I could get out of the toilets back to the car. And this old git, I'm sorry for anybody watching, I'm not ageist, but he was a cantankerous old git, and he banged on that door for the constant 15 to 20 minutes I was in there. I was in tears. I was in a bad mood because the bags weren't sticking. I'd gone through 3 bags trying to get one back on just so I could get back to the car to get home. Oh, I let rip when I got out that toilet. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I went ballistic, and I said to him, I said, have you any idea what an ileostomy is? I said, have you any idea? I said, of somebody that's had surgery, I said, and is covered in their own feces. I didn't say feces, I said the other word. I said, and I've had to wash that out. I said, at the end of the day, I said, you can't see it. I said, but under my clothes, and I lifted my bag up. I said, that's the stoma bag. I said, I have a key. I have my card. I'm more than entitled to use those toilets. I said, in future, I said, if you see anybody going in there, I said, it's because they've got a key. I said, because it's locked from the outside. I said, so you can only get in there if you've got a key. I said, you only get that giving that key. I said, for a specific medical reason. And I went, oh, I can't. It still infuriates me to this day. I just... You know when you just want to come out and strangle them, but you know you can't because they're old and they're meant to be sweet. And yeah, that was such.
I'd have stayed in there another 10 minutes older, I'll tell you. You'd have been banging like that.
I know, but
if somebody did that to me, I'd go crazy. I'd just like, what the hell do you think you're doing?
We've talked about before, like briefly about kind of through our illness, losing our voices, like, why it's important to be our own advocates, but through my illness, I lost my voice. When I lost my voice, metaphorically, but really, I lost my voice. And when I had accidents, and because when the prolapse first started, it was before the Mio bags. It was a nightmare. I couldn't. The bags were ridiculous. They just wouldn't last. Accidents all the time. I was too embarrassed to go into the disabled toilet in case I was judged. So I used to just walk around in my mess constantly, and that was normal for me. And I would have an underwear on,
isn't it?
And that was before, and that's why I know how far I've come in my voice. I thought I had no right, even though I had an accident, to go change myself. I sat in that mess until I got home every time. And it's like, and it makes me sad to think of who I was back then. The difference I am in now is quite amazing. And there are people out there that do that because they are afraid of getting judged, and I think it's important for shows like this to talk about it. Brett, is it Brett? Blake Bedford to talk about his incident. For Sound Cleesby started off a few years ago. All these ones that I have mentioned it, I think it's super important because when you're younger, it's easy to have a voice. Now, when you're kind of older, you sort of may just go like some people. I met a lady the other day at the UA, and she has had a urostomy, and she had it for 3 months, and have to have a night bag at night, and she's been with her partner for 50 years, and they don't sleep in the same bed because of the night bag. And it's like all she had to do was ask for like Colourplast to do these extra long bags, and I went, I'll go speak to the stand. And it's like, but she kept that quiet, and that's a big thing for her, and a big thing, the quality of life. And I think people tend to like stay a bit quieter, whereas when you've got like an online group, you can help encourage people to actually, that's not okay. And actually, I want to do something about it. I didn't have that. And that's where I lost my voice because I didn't know that existed.
Once you find your fight, that's it. You got to hold on to it then and get angry and get even.
Yeah,
because we won't go back to that again.
No.
I won't ever get back to that place again. And that's why I like now I've started doing the Macmillan, volunteering the Macmillan advocacy, and why it's important for me because I have lost my voice many, many times. And I was in Greece once. I'll share this, right? I was in Greece because my ex-partner was Greek, but I'm not allowed to mention that. But and so I was in Greece once, and I had ended up in hospital, and I had a indwelling catheter. Now they took the catheter. I had a problem with it, and they took the catheter out. Anyway, my leg was in stirrups, and patients walking in and out. And I was trying to explain to him in Greek that that's not okay. And it was awful. And he didn't do anything. And my legs were just like this. And I really felt like in that moment, I felt like I just didn't want to be here. I thought that if this is what my life's going to be like. And luckily that hasn't happened in the UK. But that was a total different. And that's where I don't ever want to go back there. But I want to, there are people out there that maybe aren't as confident to say, actually, that's not okay. You know, I do need those products, or if a product's been stopped, or if support will, or anything, to kind of say, actually, no, I do need it, and to stand up for yourself. So I'm it's very close to my heart, because I'm total different. If you met me a few years ago, you wouldn't recognize me as a total different person. Totally different.
I can like totally relate to that, because when I was younger, as I say, I was diagnosed at 17. I was done as I was told. So they'd say, like, you're going on this medication and that's what you're doing. I wasn't given a choice, like, would you like to try this or would you like to do that? It was just, you're doing this and you're doing that. And then eventually, like, there was one time a nurse got really like horrid with me, and I was in so much pain, but she was like, well, you don't look like you're in pain. I was like, well, I don't need to look like I'm in pain to be in pain. Like, I am in pain. Like, I need my pain relief. Like, no, I'm not giving it to you. And at that point, that's when I decided, like, I can't keep like letting people like make the decision for me, like say to me, this is what you're doing. Like, you have to stand up for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, to get the care that you need to speak out and you need to say, like, no, I'm not okay with this. Like, you're not going to tell me how it's going to be. I'm going to tell you how it's going to be, because this is my life. It's me that's living with it, not you.
And that's really important. Like, I wrote a blog post after the ostomy days. There was like a lecture, and they were talking about what matters to you, and it's on June the 6th is what matters to you day. And I've been talking to Graham about it. Hi, Graham. We're talking about it, how he can maybe implement it when he goes in. But it's changing what's wrong with you to what matters to you. And it's like to put us like in charge of our care. And I'm really interested about maybe as osteomates, what matters to us, like as osteomates, to help kind of bring more into the conversation. But it's what matters to you. And like you say, Alannah, like for me, it's independency. It's having a say in my care. Because I don't want to lose my voice, and I don't want to be reliant on anybody ever again like I was. Independence is key to me. So that's probably one of my top. And some hospitals do these boards that are what matters to you board. And I think Guy's and Thomas, have you got one? Do they use it though? Do they actually use it?
It's like this big green tree thing, and you have to put like a sticky note on it, and then you pop it on. But nobody does it.
Really, because Scotland started the what matters to you started in 2016, like the awareness day. It's been going on before, because they've been trying, the NHS England and NHS Whole has been trying to push it, but they started this day, and it's fabulous. I think it's brilliant. And stomach care nurses are trying to get it into asking like more us. What product, you know, what do we like in the product? What's important to us? You know, for somebody it might be the way it looks. For others, it might be not to have a leak. For others, it might be that it doesn't rustle. Do you know what I mean? We're all different.
There's different importance levels, isn't there?
And it's trying to get that what matters to you in terms of stoma. And it's quite exciting where I think in the future it may go. They were saying about stoma care nurses being more like coaches and more like kind of motivational coaches. And instead of kind of say, do this, do that, try and get them to incorporate in the conversation.
I think it's dependent on the stoma nurse though, because I mean, you get some that are like that. I mean, the one that I had, Kathy, she listens to you, she takes the advice, and if I say I want something on prescription, 9 times out of 10 she'll issue it for me, no questions asked, because she knows that I'm capable. But at the same time, you've got others that stick to the letter, and it's good that it's good that it's being rolled out. But it is hit and miss as to what you get. And unfortunately, the problem that we've got at the moment as well, as much as we want the stoma nurses to listen to us, and as much as we want that product, and as much as we want this specific thing, or we want that thing, or we want the other thing, with the cuts that are being made on the NHS, it's us that are suffering the worst with some of the cutbacks at the moment. And the problem that you've got is, even if you want that product and you really, really want it, unless you go through what you've posted up before, Rachel, and go through, and then at some point you're still not being able to get it, so you're having to go through your local MP to have that implemented, which is a very long process. By the time that you've got through all of that, only if you know how to fight the fight or dig your heels in, they're going to be stuck with a product that they don't want or they don't like anyway. It's such a difficult thing.
To be honest, quite a few, once they've kind of spoken to the stoma nurses, it seems to be the ones that have messaged me have helped push that product forward, or they've had to justify why they need it. But it's like Scotland's been hit badly from the research I did.
Yeah.
Kent's been hit badly, which we know, like from Shell and Louise, from you with your underwear. And I think it's the supporting products are going to get hit. I don't think the standardized pouches are ever going to go out, but that's why it's important for us as advocates, because we're all advocates. Anybody is an advocate, you know. We all, if even if you don't have blogs, we're all advocates. But it's to try and empowering other people to kind of to say, yeah, actually, yes, I need that product. However, I could cut down here, or I'll make sure I don't order. Like, I don't order adhesive sprays because mine are all samples, because I hardly use them. Because when I want to do one and not the other, I get the other bag comes off, so I don't actually use that, and my skin is okay with it. Sometimes I use if I got some residue, but I don't use it all the time, and that's how I kind of save myself. But yeah, I need the seals. I need the elastic tape with my new concave bag. Otherwise, that bag wouldn't work for me. So that's essential for me. But I try to cut back where I can.
Okay. I've just had another email from Elaine, and she said that she's had to do it before with the having to stand up for herself and advocate. Now, Elaine has perianal Crohn's, and she has it quite severe. And with hers, she gets skin tags.
Yeah, I get those too.
Which are the perianal skin tags, so they're not normal skin tags, they're bloody excruciating. And the amount of times that she went in to see the GI nurses and they said, well, it's just skin tags, and sent her off. And she had to fight the case in the end to be seen by the surgeon to get them assessed, because the GI nurses were just, no, it's fine, it's skin tags, she'll be fine. And I think it is the case that if your own general care, especially with chronic illness, is having to fight, if you know your illness, great. If you don't, the best advice I can give you is join groups, ask the questions, speak to the surgeons. Even if the questions seem stupid, just ask them, because you're only going to learn.
Any question's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah,
if it's worrying you.
You're only going to get that information if you ask. You can ask. There's no harm in asking. They're not going to laugh at you. They're not going to turn around and say, oh, well, you're an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
they 9 times out of 10 they do listen, and if you ask the questions, they will answer those to the best of their abilities, regardless of whether it's relevant or not.
The only problem I find with that is that, like all of us, if you take our worst moments and where we've had to fight because departments aren't talking to each other, you don't have the energy to fight. And that's why I lost my voice, because I had no energy to fight, and nobody was doing it for me. And I think if you're in that situation, is to ask somebody, whether it's a friend, family member, other people online, that can maybe help you with that, because it is tiring. If you're going through it, it's hard to kind of survive, get through what you're going through mentally and physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it, to then also try and fight. It can be difficult.
The knowledge is the way, though, isn't it? Once you know something.
Definitely. And groups.
I mean, luckily, the West Midlands have not been really affected by any of the cuts, as far as I can see. You know, I've always managed to get what I wanted in my box each month.
Northampton has. Northampton has badly. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's Midlands, but Northampton.
I think it is, yeah.
Northampton's been, because it's part of NAMS, they've been hit badly. Like, right. Yeah, they've had like groups, like ostomates going in talking to them as a group, because they rolled out this new, they have to go through NAMS to kind of get the prescriptions, and I know they've been affected really badly.
I think a couple of times I've missed out on ostomist spray, well, drops and that, but I think that was more about Charter missing it off my list rather than an actual cutback, because I've received everything since.
I'm going to play with the Ostomist drops soon.
They're great.
What is it?
Oh yeah.
The drip rather than the spray. I've got the Ostomist spray, which you can spray into your stoma bag. So that's
it's not the little drops that smell like there's ones that smell like oranges or something.
Yeah, but you've
I used to have those. Yeah, they're well good. They're really good.
Can I just throw this one out here, because Graham thought he'd be funny and start a debate in one of the groups last night. Now, for most of us, you know how difficult it's been in the past to get hold of a radar key. There's certain things that you have to go through to get a radar key.
Really?
There is if you don't have a stoma.
I got it on Amazon.
I got my original one with my first delivery. It was like a sample delivery from Crohn's and colitis.
Did you know now? Yeah, but you still have to pay for it for Crohn's.
No, I didn't pay for
that. I have to pay for mine.
CC UK, you have to pay for the membership to get the radar key,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what I
only
got.
£24, which is normally what's £24 a
Actually,
year. I don't know how much it is now.
I don't think it was CC UK. I think it was like a box of stuff. It was like samples from someone. I didn't actually pay for it, but it was kind of like a brand new to Stoma World sort of thing.
Now, did you know that Argos are selling radar keys for $7.99 a pop?
Are they?
Now, what are your feelings on that?
Well, I
Personally,
got mine from Amazon's, and I was quite glad because I didn't know where else to get mine.
Personally, I don't think you should be able to just buy. Joe Public should be able to just buy them. I think you need to kind of like prove the fact that you need one.
Yeah, like a card or being like, like I require this item, like, you know what I mean?
Do you not think though that a little bit it is profiting from people that are desperate?
Yeah,
that need it to a degree, as well as those that are going to take the complete and utter Michael out of it. You've also got the ones that are desperate and need that sort of thing and need a key, and they're charging $7.99 a key.
Like there's a lot of people as well. Like I struggled quite a lot when I left my jobs and I had surgery, and like money was really tight, and you also have to think like some of us aren't as like we're not all as fortunate as like another. Do you know what I mean? So there must be people that struggle quite a lot, and imagine having to pay that much just a facility that you need.
I personally think that they should take the locks off of all the disabled toilets. I don't think that they should be locked. I think they should be open. There's a massive rollout in the supermarkets and some of the food chains that not every disability is visible, so therefore they don't have locked toilets. Most of the disabled toilets are open. You just might get a funny look if you walk in there.
Yeah.
But do you not think that maybe they should just take the locks off of all the disabled toilets? But then obviously disabled public toilets, obviously not the cleanest thing in the world, but they're for when you're in a really bad situation.
Kind of like yes and no. Because then I think that, I think people are going to maybe try and take advantage of the fact, oh, well, I'm not waiting in the queue, so I'll just go and pop off to the disabled toilet.
At a gig or something.
Yeah.
At a gig.
Like if you're at an event or something and like obviously they've been drinking, for example, and say, oh, like they need to go pee. But like, say, for example, you've got a bag leak or something, and then you're standing out there, like waiting, where this person just goes to pee because they can't be bothered waiting in the queue. That's what would annoy me, like if if it was to happen.
Well, I actually waited until we'd got to like somewhere near Birchington on Sunday. We went and collected Maisie from camping, and my bag had filled up. I was down at Whitstable. I'd gone into the public toilets. I didn't have my radar key with me because it's very rare. I only tend to take it with me if I'm travelling on the trains or if I'm going somewhere I don't know. So I've gone into the toilets. There's no loo roll in any of the toilets, and I didn't have my bag with me, which we have spare tissues in. So I was like, I winged it from Whitstable to Birchington, and I was looking for the camping toilets just so I could empty my bag because it was proper full.
Aww.
But that's the other issue as well. That's another reason why we probably have the radar keys as well. Is normally guaranteed that disabled toilets have at least got loo roll in to empty your bleeding bag.
Mm-hmm. Can I just give somebody a shout out? Right, yeah. Laura McKenzie. Am I saying it right? Let me just double check. Yeah, Laura McKenzie. She is a double bagger and is hugely inspirational. She started the Colostomy UK 50k thing, and she's got in the paper, and she had her 2 stomas due to cancer. And she said that she got her key when she was first diagnosed with cancer. I just wanted to say hi and power to the double baggers.
Yay! Yeah. Oh dear, but it's a difficult one. But yeah, $7.99 a key. Robin, bleep.
But I didn't know how else to get mine, so I got mine on Amazon because I wasn't part of any.
How much did you pay for yours?
I think it's like £12. I don't know. It's a while ago. Oh, Steve's gone. £12, maybe so. But I didn't have the money at the time. I just didn't know.
Did you not get yours with your delivery? Because normally some of the post-op packs, dependent on what hospitals you're in, you get the key in the post-op pack.
I know post-op pack at all. I know I didn't get it.
We don't have that up here either.
No, I had no post-op pack. It was I didn't have anything to go. I didn't even know that. I only knew you could get disabled keys because my friend who's older, he went, Rachel, I think you need to get one because you're having leaks and you're just walking around not doing it. So I just went on Amazon.
Can I just ask you guys? So obviously all of us have been through stoma surgery. Rachel, you've been through a few. I've been through a few. Alannah, you've had yours done as well. Do you think that all the post-op packs that you get issued in hospital, so you know when they give you the little carry bag and they give you supplies to take home until you get your delivery, do you think that they should have a radar key in those post-op packs rather than the card?
We don't have that at all. I don't even know what that is.
Have you never seen the can't wait urgent cards?
I have them, but I just got mine from Crohn's and Colitis UK, but I never ever got one from the hospital. They don't even keep them.
But do you agree that the cards are pretty much useless due to insurance on certain buildings and within certain properties, so they're not covered for public liability?
Absolutely. I've been refused from a few places, even given my card. And like my mom at the time would come with me, and like I was flailing really badly, and I was like, look, I'm so sorry, like I really need the toilet. I have a can't wait card. And they were like, well, what's this? And I was like, well, it explains on the card. And they were like, no, sorry. And I was like, okay.
See, the thing is that what I don't think most people understand about those can't wait cards, because I know Blake Beckford raised it about the conference hall that he went to. But the thing is certain public establishments, so those for like shopping centres with public toilets or going to a restaurant that has a toilet, they have public liability for the people that go into those buildings. But say you go into an EE shop and you've got an accident, you've had an accident, you can't just pull the card out and use it because their insurance is only covered for those that work inside the building. They're taking a risk of getting sued if you went up those stairs and fell over a bucket and cracked your head open and end up in hospital.
Yeah, that's what they said to me. They said it was something to do with health and safety and they couldn't let me use the toilet. It was awful. It was.
But I think everybody that goes, oh, well, it's okay, I've got a can't wait card. Unfortunately, the can't wait cards are just, well,
they're pointless.
They're pointless to carry. But if you've got them with the radar key, or if you say you went into a place like McDonald's or KFC, even though most of those have got pin locks on now, they've changed it so that you have to actually buy something to get the code to use the toilet.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah.
They've been implemented.
Sorry about that.
For those of you watching, most of the keypads have been introduced now. KFC, McDonald's, Burger King. There is another one as well that I've been to. I think it's Subway as well. They have the key code, so you can only use the toilets if you buy something.
Yeah.
Steve, you're
but
very
there's a lot of places, isn't there?
I know. Sorry, my phone's overheating. Keeps telling me that Hangouts is going to shut down in 20 seconds. So I've switched on and off. At my work, they've got the disabled toilets at my work now. Now I don't know whether an incident that happened with me in there a while back with a gentleman that should not be named, but he was up to no good and he wasn't disabled. Anyway, he sharpishly moved when I opened the door and he was in there. He ran out quickly, holding his mobile phone in one hand. Anyway, the new toilets in the new block where I'm in, that you can't actually open it from the outside. It's literally permanently open. So when you go in there, you lock it. No one can get in. There isn't a key. You can only lock it from the inside, which is really clever, I thought.
Oh, just to note, for those of you that do use the disabled toilets, did you know that there is actually a system to know as to whether it's just locked from the outside with no one in it or locked from the inside with someone in it?
Yeah, the best way to find out is to shout, "Hey, anyone in there?"
No, if it's white, if the colour's white on the outside, that means that it's been locked, but there's nobody in there. If it's red, then there is somebody in there.
Oh, see, it's actually. Oh, sorry, Rachel, on you go.
That's okay. No, I'll just say I assumed that red was locked and white was open, but
some people don't know that. They don't knock, and I've had somebody walk in on me.
I didn't know that. But I tell you what, it's interesting you say about Steve, saying that like there's no locks on your toilets at work. But where we go, like obviously like my local hospital's in Aberdeen, and then obviously we've got like the big shopping centre. In the shopping centre there is normal toilets, for like women and men. but there's a few disabled toilets where you can't even use your key. You have to
Yeah.
you have to phone someone. You press a button, and you have to phone someone to ask to use the toilet.
Wow.
Sometimes they don't answer, so you're just like, oh my god, like
Oh
you're
my
rushing
God.
around like, ah!
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. Scotland have got different rules, haven't they? I thought Wales was bad with our little quirky.
You ain't been to Scotland.
I'm going up to Edinburgh on New Year's Eve. My brother's getting married in a castle.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah,
near you?
you'll like that.
Is that near
It's
you, Edinburgh?
about 4 hours away.
Oh, it's too far.
It's not that long, really.
Well,
It
no.
literally takes us not long in the car if we wanted to go down.
We're flying up.
Oh,
are you?
Yeah.
It's
In
quite
a
quick.
castle.
That's actually a good point that you're flying as well.
It's not a bouncy castle. It's a proper castle.
It is. It's a proper castle on a hill. You know, it's a lot of tourists go there. It's quite popular, but
If it's on a hill, you've got to go hill rolling of a night time, Steve. Have
Yeah.
a couple of bevies and
Oh,
roll
you know me. You know me. Any reason to squash my bag?
My brother's getting married in style. It's like so different to me, but it's it looks quite nice. I can't remember the castle's name, but it's yeah.
Oh, I
Look
don't know
nice to
anything
it.
about names. But I tell you what as well, you know how you were saying you were flying? I've flown a few times with a bag, and there was one time I accidentally put, you know, the adhesive spray in the barrier sprays? I accidentally put that in my hand luggage because that day my bag was really unpredictable. It wasn't sticking. And like I was that close to like having to put all my supplies in the bin.
Oh my God.
So I don't know if that's happened to any of you guys,
Well,
but
I've learnt my lesson with fluid.
Yeah,
in the whole
listen to
door.
this. Listen to this.
No, I'm not telling them.
Go on, you should.
You're
No, do you know what? Do you know what? Right, in the second Copenhagen trip, Steve left his scissors in the bag. I went, Steve, why are you taking your
Yeah.
scissors on with you?
No, I
And he went,
didn't. No,
"Well,
I didn't.
They rounded. Yes, you did.
No, that was the first one.
You can
But
take.
Rachel got in trouble for a bottle in a bag, yeah, and it wasn't a bottle; it was a power bank in the shape of a chili bottle.
Yeah, like
And
that you
there was
told
like-
me. Like
It
you
was like,
told me.
what is this? What is it? Hilarious.
Did you know that you can get scissors through in hand luggage? I know this because they have to be rounded and they have to be under.
Oh, the curved ones.
Yeah,
That's the ones.
The blade has to be on the scissors has to be under 6 centimeters, and you can get it through the hand luggage. If you get a letter from your GP about the stoma supplies being in your hand luggage, that's absolutely fine. However, if you do a me and you're too tight to pay for hold and you just want to take a carry case with you because you're only going for a weekend, you can get your stoma supplies through. Just show them that you've got an ileostomy as it's going through. Talk to them at the end. Yes, they will pull your bag to one side. Yes, they will double check it. But you've already explained they will let you through. But then it depends on how much of a Nazi you get that day. So
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm trying to learn like Steve. So when I first flew for the first time since my stomas in January, and now we've done our 3 times. And I at the beginning I just straight away went, I've got 2 bags, and now I'm learning like not to say anything until I get asked.
I want to get marked off by the.
I'm trying to learn because it's like I always like feel guilty before I've even got there, and I'm trying to learn. Like Steve just doesn't say anything, and he gets pulled all the time.
Do you know why I tell them? The reason why I tell them is I fly through Gatwick, and the body scanners that we go through in Gatwick actually scan your entire body, so they can see if you've got things concealed on you, and they can see if you've got liquids on you that you're not meant to have. So that is why I tell them.
And they all like that though, because Steve, I tried to take a picture of Steve because Steve has like when they went through his bag, it's like yellow, and I tried to take a picture, and I got
the massive poster saying no photograph in security. The Rachel's blogging, taking pictures of
I didn't
me with my glowing up bag.
They have massive, great big signs in red with white writing on saying no photographs in the security area.
Yeah, but I didn't see that, and it was my first time I've worked in 7 years.
To be fair, I
Isn't it strange though when you're in the queue and you're going through security that you feel like Pablo Escobar?
Do you know what? I
You
And I
feel
feel
so
I'm
nervous, and you're like, well, what if they want to see my bag? And what happens if it farts when they touch it? Like, what's gonna happen?
Do you know what? I think I laugh. I think because the one thing that I worry about is once I've had the Barbie butt surgery done and I go through security, if they think I've got something in my bag and they decide to pull me aside underway, you know, when they do the internal checks, I'll be standing in the room going, "Good luck with that, mate," because there's nothing internal to check.
We're going to be really shocked. I've got my date through for that surgery.
What's your date, lovely?
When have you got it?
It's 13th of September for my Ken butt and my peristomal hernia repair.
Check you out.
Guess how long do you think his surgery is going to take? See if you
8 hours, 9 hours.
Oh,
They've said like 5 to 6 for the bum surgery and about two for the repair.
I was bang on.
Yeah, he was. He's really close.
That's really long. See, my one only took 3.5 hours.
Did it?
Yeah.
Thing is, what they've said that obviously with a chap, they're we have narrower hips than ladies, so there's less of an you have more room within a lady to sort of work.
So it's more like tighter and like concealed. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, totally.
See, if you're upside down, oh no, now you're.
My phone is messing up. I tell you, I'm having to hold it in the air because I'm scared to put it in its hold.
Alannah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been really lovely having you.
Yeah, cheers, Alannah.
Thank you for having me.
You on. Oh, then for those of you, I have my MRI contrast next Tuesday down the ileostomy. I'm really not looking forward to it because I have barium. No.
We'll all be rooting for you, though. We'll all be like, good luck.
Yeah, barium contrast.
It's a weird feeling. Like that's what it is. You can't feel anything, but it does feel weird. I had it in the ostomy.
Yeah, Rach, I've had them before through the fistula, and Alannah, you know how thin fistulas are, and then when they're trying to get through something that is like the size of like a charger lead.
Oh, you're worrying me now because I've got to get it done.
I remember I had to have something done. It was like they inject you with I'm not sure what liquid it was, and then they scan you while the liquid's moving through.
Yeah, that's the barium.
And you can taste metallic in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's metallic and it's chalky, and it's
just a strange feeling. It's not really painful as such. It's just strange and weird.
As well, that it makes you feel like you need to pee.
Yes.
Yeah. Even when you don't have a bladder, you feel like you want to pee. And I went somewhere like, oh my god, I've not had this feeling. I've not peed for like since I was 20, and it's like I want to pee.
Okay,
it's horrible.
So, I've just realised we've nearly overrun for 10 minutes. Thank you, Alannah, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's lovely having you two back. Natalie will be back with us at the beginning of June. Steffi, I think she's on with us next week, but I will let you know because I know she's working nights at the moment. We should be having Sahara back on next week. Because it's 2 days prior to World IBD Day, so not IBD Awareness Month or IBD Awareness Week. It is just IBD Awareness Day, which is the 19th. We're actually going to be going through more so what you would tell a newly diagnosed you, but also like waking up after stoma surgery, what to expect. We'll be going through all of that with you because as much as IBD Awareness Day is okay, there's only so much that we can flog IBD. So we'll be going more from the stoma side of things as next week. We will be doing a brief bit about IBD, but we'll be going through things like Sahara's J-pouch and us with our stomas and how we felt after waking up for surgery, what to expect, that sort of thing. So we will be back next week. Thank you ever so much for all of those of you that have tuned in this evening. If you would like to click the little subscribe button, if you haven't already done so, it would be greatly appreciated. And we will be back again next week. So see you at 8 next week. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye. All the best. All the best, Nat and Steph. See you later.
Yes, I forgot to shout them out.
I've done it.
Well done.